Good afternoon. My name is Patricia Lloyd, and my interview today is with Aaron Lloyd, who is an up and coming actor. So look out for him. Aaron grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I asked Aaron if I could interview him, and with no thought, he said yes and was ready for an interview. Aaron is very soft spoken and very handsome. Our interview took place after dinner over a glass of lemonade. We both had to get comfortable for the interview, and I should have taped it as it was going on because it was very comical. Aaron is very serious about his acting career. My first question for Aaron was, how has your unique and individual experience shaped your career and experience in theater? Aaron replied that he grew up in a lower class, single parent home in the inner city of Bridgeport, Connecticut. He was aware that they didn't have a lot of money, but never felt impoverished. And he gives all the credit to his mom because she did a phenomenal job, and she continues to do a phenomenal job. He continues to say that anybody growing up with the cards dealt like that really have the advantage of developing the tenacity, grit, and toughness and empathy to develop characters, deal with rejection, and the hunger to persevere in this career. Some things literally deals with hunger of needing a meal. He laughs. He goes to say that I think the way I grew up definitely has me look at plays and characters differently and gives me a unique approach to my work that I believe the audience can appreciate. My second question for Aaron was, what made you want to act? He replied, I got into acting from the desire to help people. I also know why and have known it for at a young age. I originally wanted to be a doctor to help people, and when I was in 6th grade, I saw a play at the high school. I would later attend called profiles, which deal with peer education through the arts. They cover topics like gang violence, drugs, depression, suicide awareness, LGBTQ issues, and more, and shared education through entertainment and plays for students in the city. This is where the spark and connection between just have fun acting out. We just had fun acting out characters to actually make a change develop. So I asked Aaron, what sort of conflicts did he encounter when starting out? And his reply was, a month after graduating college, he moved to New York City and had 2 gigs set up. He felt great, and it was great to be in the city. Well, that changed quickly, and it humbled him. This industry is a feast to famine, as he called it. It's a feast of famine kind of industry. And when it's famine, it's famine. He stressed that. It was famine. It took about a year after those two gigs to book anything else. And in the meantime, he was working at a job that he hated. Um, he after that he booked two more gigs, and he was jobless for a while. He ended up living in Castle Hill area of the Bronx in a situation that wasn't ideal, but he was blessed to have a roof over his head. I en- he en- He stated he ended up sleeping on the floor and having to jump from over turnstiles to catch the subway to get to work, and sometimes got ticketed because he simply didn't have any money but had to get where he had to go. Um, he stated, I was barely getting by and was overstaying my welcome at the temporary roof over his head that was supposed to be only for a year, and it ended up being close to 3 years. New York City is expensive, so if you don't manage your finances well, you will run into issues like what I am going to eat, how will I get to work, and sometimes doubt. Despite feeling called to it, if acting is the right path. A lot of prayer and determination to see my dream manifest got me through some of the darker days. My next question for Aaron was, what are your hopes for the future of theater? He replied that the landscape of theater is interesting to me now because of how everything is digitized. Broadway shows are mostly spectacular and sensationalism. Nothing wrong with it if it's your cup of tea. I know that people's I know that people since the dawn of humans have loved stories, so I don't think theater is going anywhere. My concern is more about who has the access or interest in the theaters. Most audience members are people who are generous donors, white, older, or white. This leads to plays, though it's getting better with things like Hamilton being geared towards that audience or thought through the lens of white people's gaze. My hope is that young people will develop a keen interest in the theater and the arts from having access and more funding. I also hope in that there is progress, but still a way but still a way to go of having more diverse keeper voices at the top of other voices for other audience are reflected during theater season. So I asked Aaron, so what are you working on? He replied that he recently finished up a Soldier Story play at the Negro Ensemble Theater, which has a wall at the African American Museum in D.C. The play didn't have The play hasn't been done since at the theater since Denzel Washington, Samuel Jackson, James Pickett Jr., and Adolph Caesar had done it. It was the NEC's 50th anniversary season, and he was blessed to be remount, which is surreal. I also just booked a movie with Academy Award nominee Rosie Perez and Eric Roberts. He is also really proud of his self-produced title called This is New York, This is America, which is on YouTube. Check it out. Well, I thank Aaron, and this ends my interview. My name is Patricia Lloyd, and this is for Theater Appreciation. Have a great day. And finally finished.